This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 76, Top Producer Mistakes. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place because I am you. Who am I? I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction or build a better business than the one you already have, I've created a free jumpstart course for you, and it's sitting waiting for you in its beautiful digital form over at freeagentgift.com, freeagentgift.com. It's a wireframe for business all the way from starting fresh to revamping your current business, and it's important that you get strategic, freeagentgift.com. All right, I want to get started in this with top producer mistakes. I know you're all going to lean in on this. All my friends who are top producers now, what's he going to say? And everybody else who's curious, always trying to wonder how those top producers do what they do. I want to talk about the mistakes. But I first want to sit here and plead guilty. I'm not here being accusatory of anybody before I'm hard on myself. And that's what I'm about to do. I'm going to tell you all of these mistakes were made by me. And I wish that I had developed enough of a strategic brain in small business to not have made them. But again, that's part of the journey, right? You have to knock your head against the wall just to figure out that that's not the right direction. You do it a couple times, shame on you. But eventually, you realize you can't get through that wall and you have to go in another direction. And that's when this new perspective opens up. I give full credit to this perspective, to the body of work done by Michael Gerber, because when he talks about really these three personality types that small business people need to be aware of, at least, not necessarily become tripolar, but at least be aware of these three polar pieces of becoming successful at small business, I think the one that needs the most emphasis is manager. I know. You can almost hear that like my fingernails going across a chalkboard. Manage. I don't want to manage. I just want to sell something. In fact, that's probably the number one mistake we make, is that we dismiss everything about small business because we just want to go sell something. But let me start with the first point here. I think what top producers do is they get too comfortable. And what I mean by that is many top producers are just really hardworking salespeople who come into this business. They don't really have a plan. Like when I started, again, going back to telling you my mistake, was I was asked by the boys, there was three of them, owners, four owners, and I was asked by one of them, what's your business plan? And I quipped, well, why don't you give me 2,000 business cards, a desk, a lamp, and I'll bring the Army helmet and the work ethic. And we all laughed and it was funny, but I really meant it. I meant I'm just not going to be outworked. And that was my youthful bravado as a budding small business person in real estate. I was excited to say, if you can do this, I can do this, right? A lot of top producers say that when they come into the business. And that's this idea of the muscular salesperson. Ladies, got a lot of great top producers out there. Men, I do not discriminate by gender in this top producer mistake discussion. We all make it, no matter what the gender is, no matter what the background is, because most of us top producers come at it from this muscular approach as salespeople. Now, remember, I'm separating out the top producer necessarily from somebody who would start right away in the brokerage business the way that it really exists, meaning they are the broker owner looking to hire other agents. I've just had an experience that as becoming or trying to become this independent business owner with my own brand, etc., this is how I started, from sales. Okay, so that's the perspective I'm giving here. Any of you that have sold on muscle and then built a business around it, there's a point in time where things got to work for you and you start to close down on what else there might be and you get comfortable. It's comfortable to do X number of millions of dollars, and so you just rinse and repeat it. Okay, I'm going to get into what that causes next, because what happens now is that as you quote unquote become coachable, man, how many of you have told me I'm so coachable, only to go spinning out the back end of mine or any other coaching program in about 6 months? Here's why: you're chasing ideas. You believe as a top producer that you have this ball rolling in the right direction. And if only you could go to this conference or talk to this guy or gal coach, or, maybe even go outside the industry, you could grab that next idea and you could slap it on the side of this ball of energy called your business, and that would work. Now, the problem with that is you become an idea junkie. Because you hear this other top producer is killing it with this. That's the worst statement you all make. I know this guy and he's killing it with this. This gal is killing it over here on social. You don't know what anybody's doing other than what your perspective is. Until you get under the hood of somebody's business, you see the math as to whether it's working or not. Stop chasing their ideas. Rather, ask yourself, when you see a good idea, how could I implement that in my strategic approach? I'm not going to let up on strategic approach. It's not going to stop. It's the number one way to help you stop making these mistakes. But as part and parcel of the second point after being comfortable is as you're chasing ideas, guess what you're doing? You're buying them. And some of you are paying extraordinarily exorbitant prices for these ideas. It's stunning to me. I'm not going to pick on any of them, and I'm not going to say that they don't work. I'm just saying that when you begin to chase ideas, you lose perspective of what you're selling. And here's your top producer money mistake that you make. You say, well, I looked back and I got 2 deals off it, so it paid for itself. That is just so far from right, because I know that most of you don't understand a full income statement. Now, I was blessed way back when I first left college to be in the finance business, where I was exposed to income statements of small businesses when I was working in the venture capital business, and really big ones when I was in the investment banking business. So I got a feeling for what it really looks like and all the costs that there really are to run a business. Most small people, I'll be okay. Most small business people are delusional about what it really costs to turn a profit. I'll repeat that. Most small business people, and I'll put in especially top producers, are delusional about what it really costs to run their business. And so when you go out and you buy an idea, let's put it under the category of marketing, that I'm just going to go out and do this marketing. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy contacts, leads. It all falls under marketing, whether you buy contacts or you create them yourself. Let's put it under there just for an easy part of this discussion. And because you're trying to run this business on muscle, and it's almost like a horse race, you're trying to keep up with these top producers that you're watching. If they have it, you buy it. And you never gave any thought as to how that really fits into your current book of business. Let me give you an example. I coach some top producers that come to me with extraordinarily good referred business model, or at least heavily weighted. I believe that should be part of everybody's model here. But that module, past client, repeat, and referral, that final module in my model is really alive and well. And what they do is they get sold on going to the front end and buying leads off the internet. And they have no idea why. I mean, they've never really stopped and asked themselves, well, how does this fit in? Now, I think it's not a bad idea to consider. Well, it's not a bad idea. It's a necessity to consider, how do I market to people that I don't know yet, so that there's always a constant flow to my past client from people I never knew. And the recycle of repeat and referred business from past clients only accelerates it. So again, marketing is necessary. I do believe you have to chase the latest idea, but you have to pause and think about, what kind of a control or lack thereof am I going to have over that medium? And can I predict it down the line? And a lot of times the answer is no. You end up working for one of these technology companies at these exorbitant amount of dollars each month that they're having you spend just to get what might be an okay lead, that you might have been better off just buying contacts. For example, buy some contacts for expireds, for sale by owners, probates, versus going to the internet and hoping that somewhere in that pile it's there. And I know top producers, we find the gold in that pile because we dig and we're muscular and we'll go in there, but we just don't slow it down. So it's like this big ball of chasing ideas and spending money, and you are out of control. How do I know? I saw it in my own world as I started to chase ideas about 15 years ago. I was in the newspaper for a lot of money. I was on TV. I was on the radio. And was it working? Well, sure, to a certain extent. But what I noticed about it was this massive shotgun approach that was more like spending a ton of money on a ton of ideas to create just a massive explosion of incoming inquiries, calls, leads, etc. And all of a sudden I noticed I'm sort of way over here one day and then I'm way down here next day. But the irony was I'm getting my teeth handed to me in a street fight at a local level where there's other agents that have better strategies, smaller strategies, more focused like a laser, and I can't win in my own backyard. See what I'm saying? Starting to sink in, all you top producers, and a warning to all you would-be top producers or anybody that just wants to get it right. Stop chasing ideas and spending too much money. Look for ideas that support a good, healthy business, especially if it looks like that could be a predictable source for generating new conversations that lead to new relationships, that lead to the potential to list or sell somebody a house, okay? Now, as that's all going on, it creates this chaos where the next big mistake is the way that top producers get help is just chaotic. You always hear this in our industry. You need an admin. An admin. What does that mean? An admin. It's just this big, massive global term for administrative work that goes on in any business. And so now that you've created chaos and you're responsible for that, Mr. and Mrs. Top Producer, right? Me, I was responsible for this chaos. Now, luckily, I had a mentor who believed in this whole systematic approach. I was able to observe his business. I was able to see the specialist on there, but I didn't have the budget to go out and just hire all of them. So the real question becomes when it comes to bringing in people, even if they're virtual. I mean, God love Upwork.com and sites like that, 99designs.com, all of these sites that I use where I found talent in an independent contractor way to even just leverage some of the micro work that was drowning me. But the first thing that you have to do is stop trying to control everything as the top producer. Just had this recently, this past year with a couple of people. We said, look, you really have these couple of good people, but you need to reorganize them. You have a complete hole in this part. In this case that I'm thinking of, there was no organized closing manager. I mean, there was some semblance of order, but there was nobody that had been hired dedicated to that job. And that's an easy one for top producers to give up. Why? Because it's not the sales part. It's not the face-to-face part where the thrill of the hunt, the chase, and the capture of that deal. And I don't mean that derogatorily about the people we're serving. Of course, you know where I stand on that. But I'm just trying to speak to that top producer mentality of that hunt and gather, hunt and gather, hunt and gather. So it's easy to say, oh, I got a closing coordinator. It's great. Now back to the chaos. See, what I'm really talking about is the intentionality of your marketing to be more refined, more intentional. It's not a collection of ideas. Top producers come to me all the time and they say, well, what do you think about this postcard? And what do you think about that flyer? And what do you think about this internet ad? It's like, whoa. Like, why is any of that important at the moment in your business? Where'd you get it from? How are you going to do it consistently? And by the way, are you doing all this yourself? Oh, yeah, I wouldn't let anybody touch my marketing. Right? I mean, see, there's the idea where we just won't be this management brain and we're always trying to control all this micro. And ironically, I know they're already top producers, but that's precisely what's keeping them small or limited in their growth because there's only so far you can stretch your two arms and your two legs before something breaks, right? So the concept, and again, I'll go back to give my mentor credit this, the first time I went to hear him speak about this, I ran home and I went out and I hired somebody to specifically do a specific job, which was follow up on the phone. That was it. Just went and found one person, taught her how to follow up on the phone with people that I was already talking to or working with. That's it. So if I had a hot prospect, her job was to keep them updated on properties until they were ready to go or ready to list. And if I was working with clients, she needed to book all those appointments. But it was a very specific job that I stopped trying to control when I understood the benefit of leverage. And see, if you're specific about the job that needs to get done, I mean, here's the challenge to everybody, especially top producers. Look at the one thing that is really drowning you in time that you could leverage by giving it to somebody else. But that somebody else doesn't have to be a genius. They don't have to be the next you with everything that you know. They just need to be really good at that type of task. So for example, if it's somebody in the social media marketing world who already has a resume that's as long as their arm, why wouldn't you just hire them, not just to do what you're hoping to have consistently done, but also to add some value? How about a telemarketer? You always keep saying, all you top producers, I can't keep up with the leads, so I just keep buying them. That is the biggest head scratcher for me, right? And yet you wouldn't let anybody else call. You wouldn't hire somebody who's a telemarketing expert. Why not? So this sense of trying to control everything technically really has you all bound up. And you need to begin to think about even micro delegations out to people that help you. Now, let me just reiterate, and again, I could go on and on and on about all these mistakes that I've made, but I want to share them with my fellow top producers. Don't get so comfortable that all of a sudden you start saying silly things like, oh yeah, I already know that. Oh yeah, well, I'm coachable, and then you're not. Stop. That's what it sounds like to be comfortable. It's a defense mechanism. It's our own insecurity that we feel like we've already cracked the code. And you know, you stop looking for somebody to disturb your thinking and challenge it to grow, right? It's like going to the gym. You just can't keep going to the gym and doing the same thing, and then the body gets used to it and just adapts. There's no advancement. You have to get uncomfortable. I love what David Goggins says. Do something that makes you uncomfortable every day so that you callous the brain, so that when real challenges come, you're already well out in front of that, or at least you have the tool set to deal with it. Stop getting so comfortable and defensive. Stop pushing away real help. Look for contrarian type of opinions. Stop spending all this money and chasing the ideas. Stop trying to control too much. And here's the big how to fix it. Slow down and spend even a little bit of time building strategic plans. Now, in this very talk here, every week that I put this up, I reference freeagentgift.com. And in there, I give you a copy of this one-page infographic that describes, if you were to slow down, print it out, put it up on the wall, and just consider that's how I was affected by my mentor, who was affected by Michael Gerber, and I extracted that knowledge from those two, and I put it in a one-page infographic and said, look, here's how this really works, and what you're neglecting is the strategic part of it, which is the manager's job. Get strategic about marketing, because then that will lead to a much better flow in your conversion funnel, moving people from new leads or contacts into prospects where there's relationship building happening, into clients where they've trusted you to take over. That moves into this closing department. Not that you just delegate it to a closing department because it's technical work, but that allows you to stay in relationship and have somebody watch the T crossing and the I dotting so that you birth them into this past client community where you never forget them. You maintain that responsibility for life where you update them on how the market's doing, and you continue to help them protect their asset and be ready as a resource. You hear what I just did? I showed you strategic plans. It's already there for you. It's simple. And if I can do nothing else than get everybody that listens to this podcast to just slow down and think strategically, even if you don't do it yet. I know it takes conditioning. Look, I have a small mastermind group because that's all the people that can handle it, and that's all that I can handle to really try to get them to try to think like this. And again, it's especially you top producers that haven't mastered the problem. Us. You got to look at yourself as the number one problem in your business. It is your perspective. It is your decision making. And I'm saying that because I know it was me and it still is. So every day I wake up and I look at my business, I have to be honest with myself. Where in those managed sections am I weak? Where have I gotten too comfortable? Where am I still chasing ideas? I've gotten much better because of that one right there. I look at a test. I mean, yes, we test things, no problem. But the minute you know that that's not replacing something better, and your gut tells you this isn't working, and I don't need to keep up with the Joneses of the top producers just to say I do it too, I shut it off. I stop spending the money. I don't wake up 12 months later and go, yeah, I think I ought to stop spending that extra $300, $500, $2,000 a month. That's a lot of dough that's coming right out of your profitability, right? So slow down, get these things built up. All right, let me just reiterate these real quick. Top producer major mistake categories. Stop being so comfortable. Stop spending so much money chasing ideas because you think somebody's killing it with that. Stop trying to control everything. Get some real help from people. And that includes coaching, not just from me, from somebody who gets strategic planning. You need it. It could be your accountant, could be your bookkeeper, could be anybody who gives you business strategic help. And how to fix it? Just slow yourself down. You need to spend some time in the management brain and building out these plans, even if they start with checklists based on a free model I give you sitting at freeagentgift.com. So to put that in a little chunk line, as a top producer for many years, I'm happy to plead guilty to the major mistakes that I've made in hopes that I might help both my fellow top producers out there right now listening and, more importantly, all you newer agents build a proper real estate agent business from the get-go. All right? Hey, remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction. I've said it again. I'll say it over and over. It's a free, simple business plan with that infographic over at freeagentgift.com. Also, please, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss out on any insights each time we upload an episode. By the way, these episodes are all predicated on that body of work I do with all of these top producers. We also broadcast our live sales training calls. So if you want to get technical with me, I have time for you. Fridays, okay? 1 o'clock ET. I give it away on Facebook and my YouTube channel for the Realty Classroom. So remember, get on those platforms and turn on those page and channel notifications, your bells and whatever else whistles you need to get reminded so you don't miss them. Also, of course, we'd appreciate it if you would share our content with other entrepreneurial thinking real estate agents just like you so that they get the help they need. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on your own business. See you in the next episode.